I guess we have to like measure like the service that's being sponsored like against its competitors, and I have no idea how NordVPN stacks up.
Yeah, no, I mean I know VPNs in general are a good thing to have. Oh, there's Soylent. I've seen that on a couple.
Eris?
No, Eris, she's dead!
Where'd she
go?
Oh,
she's literally being pushed. If you go back there in the footage, she was actually being pushed there for a second.
Yep, we saw it. Just like a single frame, but she was like halfway in.
It was a single frame. It was awesome.
It was a frame perfect thing that
I've never seen the NPCs just roll around in a circle.
Oh, the only because I'm thinking about how this music right here rocks. Not the battle music, but the that one. I forget what it's called.
The Mythrill Mines.
The only one song that I'm disappointed in so far is Rufus's Welcoming Ceremony, which is like my favorite FF7 song. It's not as bombastic as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be ridiculously bombastic.
They saved the really like hardcore or like the main like trumpet theme for when you're like topside and like Rufus is going down the aisle or the street. But when you're like just gathering all your guys, then it's the mostly the like wind instruments.
Yeah.
I think they did it well. IMO.
I understand. I just wanted it to be ridiculous. That's okay.
Alright, so we're about to fight Rude and Elena. They're weak to lightning and wind. So I'm going to have Cloud with lightning and Eris with wind.
By the way, this is a good time to mention that this video is sponsored by NordVPN.
Blue Chew.
Blue Chew? What's that?
Don't. All right.
No, actually, are you familiar with that? Was that like a
So tell me about Reno.
Blue Chew? Is that like?
Sonic Chew?
No. What's?
I don't know what Blue Chew is.
Well, it's a performance enhancer.
Correct.
Oh, like the little blue pills.
For performances, yeah.
Yes.
The
Okay.
blue pill.
Yeah, and
Do you know what we're talking about?
like a billion.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't know how many YouTube videos.
I've never heard of
podcasts
that.
Advertise Blue
Sorry,
Chew.
but I gotta
Did-
say it.
Are sponsored.
Did you ever like notice an advertisement on something that makes absolutely no sense? Like when I watch NFL games and they have like very, very, very specific like women themed stuff, like
Right.
like
Are you
tampons and stuff
that,
like that.
No, are,
Okay, like 80% of people watching NFL games are men. 75-80%.
and their partners.
Their partners are
They
barely
love
paying
to
attention.
They love to, oh, okay, all right. Now we're making
For the
sweeping-
most. Oh my
we're
god,
making
then.
sweeping statements.
Oh, come
about-
on. Come on.
There's plenty.
You
of...
can make some sweeping statements. I'm not saying everyone. There are some people that watch football, but almost everyone I know that likes football is a guy.
There
It just is what it
are
is.
Some people that watch football.
Okay,
that's correct.
but then
Yeah.
why is Tampax spending like $10 million on a single game to do a Tampax commercial? Or like Vagisil or whatever? Why?
Probably because they have the data to prove that it's actually worth it. To
Ben,
advertise.
are you
Fortunately for you,
They don't advertise willy-nilly. They have demographics and data. They know the metrics of who's watching.
Are you backing up big corporations? Are you like on the side of large corporations right now?
No. What would lead you to even...
Because
do
I'm
that?
saying I don't understand why they do that, and you're like, well, they're very smart. They know what they're doing.
No, I'm saying they have the data to back up what they're doing.
I don't get it.
And, any sort of profit-seeking, entity is going to seek to maximize its profit. So it takes one of the most watched events, that happens weekly during a given season, or even more frequently, whenever. And they want to advertise during that slot because they know there are enough potential buyers in that demographic.
I get what you're saying, but why spend all this money to advertise the 20% of the
Because
people
who
watching?
else is watching regular TV?
Uh,
Like, what else is there to watch? Are
I
you
guess that's
watching
true.
anything on cable? Are you?
Just football,
There you go.
literally. But I'm also not a woman. I
That's
think.
alright. That's okay, correct. And because you are not a woman, it doesn't make sense for them to advertise to women during the only thing people watch on cable anymore.
Do you know any women that watch football?
Yeah.
Compared to men, how many?
I don't really keep track of like a whole lot of habits that my friends have.
Ben! It's all over.
Do you want me to like pull all of them?
Yes, please, actually.
I'm not going to do
If you don't mind. Ben, or Trevor's doing like 50 billion damage per second right now.
All the Turk battles are ridiculously easy because you can always fight them with Tifa, and Tifa just absolutely demolishes them. If you use Rage and Fall, which is the triangle attack when she's at max Unfettered Fury, it always hard stuns them, and you can't get stunned out of it. A really easy way to play this game if you're playing on normal. It doesn't really work on hard, but all you do is just keep cycling between using Unfettered Fury, which is the charge move for Tifa, and then you use her triangle attack, which is called Rage and Fall, just over and over, and you'll get enough ATB to do it if you have haste on. And you can literally just solo the game with it.
Zang, no! I mean, Tazang. Tazang.
It's Sung.
Is it Sung?
Yeah.
Oh. I apologize.
It's confusing because you think it would be Sang because of an E, but it's Sung.
Sorry, Sung. Sorry, Eris.
Take care of Aerith for me.
Who?
Paris.
As kids, me and Spencer said Yuffie and Tifa. I'm definitely fine with Tifa and Yuffie. I like those better, but I still usually say Eris.
I remember as a kid, I was always like, no, Trev, it's Kat She. Idiot. And he was like, no, it's Kate Sith.
It's so awesome that the English dub was just like, Kate Sith. Going for the American accent.
Dude, like, I can understand some things not looking phonetically like it's spelled, but that's ridiculous. In another language, great. Or in another dialect. I think it's, what, Irish or Celtic or something?
Celtic.
It's like I think it's Welsh actually.
Well, okay. So, and that's still like English-ish. I get it, but in an American dialect, it's Kate Sith. Deal with it.
Kate Sith.
All right, Ben's on the root of everything I say. He has to disagree with. I like Doom and roguelites.
You mean roguelikes?
Yeah, it's a like.
I said
Not a-
likes.
It sounded like light.
No, a roguelite is like
Yes,
a
I know.
pleb game. A roguelike is king tier.
Alright, Ben, I actually don't know. A roguelike is like Dungeon Crawl, and a roguelite is like Binding of Isaac, right?
I think so. That's what I understand. Like a roguelike is generally like very old school, like
Dungeon Crawl Sims.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I would say is the lines, obviously it's kind of blurry because, where does light or like end and light begins? Like,
It also isn't confusing at all that they almost sound identical
Right.
to each other.
so like, do you say like a roguelike has to be turn-based and it has to be like random, procedurally generated, it has to be like
If anyone's
feature
curious about
permadeath.
Whoa.
based on what I know, yes.
Okay. Whew. I thought I messed up.
I
for a
think
second.
Right?
I
Like
think a lot of people.
I would say
I think that's pretty much like the defining character. Like a really pure, like traditional roguelike. Yeah, that's.
I mean,
gonna be it.
permadeath is the big thing for me when I hear that. I'm like, oh, it's permadeath.
Also, not necessarily.
Really?
No, I mean, I agree with you. Not necessarily like a feature of all of them, but it helps if they never tell you anything about like what you have like outright, and you have to go through like sort of like arcane things. You just have to like play through the game a ton of times to figure out what's good or anything. The game won't tell you, and it won't even give you like feedback. Like if you're using like a weapon that isn't good or anything until
you die in 1 second. Yeah.
You're like, oh wait, this isn't doing any damage, or like it won't tell you what resistance is or if anything. Yeah, it's.
Ben, do you think your average person who's like who's a Souls fan and like acts all high and mighty because they can play Souls games would ever be able to handle an actual roguelike?
Well, I'm sure plenty of
like
people...
what percentage of the people who are like, I only play Dark Souls because they're hard would get like super filtered?
Well, they're completely different genres, so the thing
no,
is...
they I find them to be somewhat in the same DNA. Like, they're not complete. It's not like saying RTS compared to Dating Sim or something like that.
Both
they're
hard, and that's basically where it ends. One features...
No, they all feature a lot of trial and error too.
Death as like
I think
you're
a better,
intended to die.
I think a
and
better.
You can continue with your current character, and you can go back to where you died and gain basically everything that you would have lost.
I get it, but you can see how they're pretty similar.
I think a better comparison would be like Dark Souls versus Devil May Cry 5 on Dante Must Die mode. I think Dark Souls fans would get filtered so hard because Dark Souls is mostly about like abusing iframes and rolling through everything. And I do like Dark Souls and Demon Souls. I don't like the newer games. I know Spencer hates all of them, but there's a very clear difference of like the skill ceiling between them.
The what I'll say is that since this was originally about like roguelikes, is that I guess you have to be like predisposed towards like the genre, the RPG, the turn-basedness. You have to be okay with like losing something permanently because of the decisions that you make poorly, that you didn't take the time to consider all the consequences. You didn't, because you have, the thing about like Dark Souls is you do not have all the time in the world to analyze what is going on. You don't have the option to like stand back, study the boss's attack patterns. You have to do that in the heat of the moment. It's a learning experience, and it's a real-time learning experience. Whereas a roguelike is a very like, you know, deeply tactical or deeply like strategic kind of thing. You kind of have to go in with a certain amount of knowledge, and they make that knowledge purposefully like unavailable to you until you encounter, you know, these things for the first time. If you see something, I mean, you can be on dungeon level 1 and encounter a snake and it bites you and you're poisoned, and you're like, well, I'm poisoned, what do I do about that? It's gonna kill me, right? And some of these games, they're gonna be like, oh, if you can wait the poison out and it may not kill you, or it may, who knows?
That's pretty cool.
And other games are like, oh, how about you start quaffing all these because traditionally it's the Q key, because D was probably used for something else. So you would just like drink all these potions that you don't know what they do, and one of them may be like, oh, it's healing. Oh, I'm cured of my poison, or I have enough HP to survive the poison, or wait it out. And some of it may be like, oh, I've turned into a tree, and that doesn't help me, and I die as a tree or something. And I'm just a, you know.
It just seems, yeah, like based on what you're saying, it just seems like they kind of make up the rules as, no, they don't make up the rules as they go on, but it feels like that. Which
I think the main difference is that they're both really hard, but in very different ways. Dark Souls is mostly about trying to beat a boss in real time, and it's really hard and it has like crazy attack patterns. But it just does not have that complexity of like all these systems at work. Because Dark Souls is a very simple game.
Yeah,
it's still hard, but compared to an actual like roguelike, it is.
Ben, all I want to do...
I like how you shot it for like 5 seconds.
All I want to do is just see Souls fans get filtered. That's all I want. That's it. It would be great to see that, you know. Boom! It stinks because I really do want to play Bloodborne, but I also don't want to play Bloodborne.
Wow, I heard it's great.
I heard it's great too. Given my limited time to play, I really don't want to have to do things over and over and over again.
I know this is probably a stupid question. Did you guys play Elden Ring?
No.
It was my first Souls-like game. I loved it.
I heard it was the easiest of the Souls type to get into.
Oh, to
No?
get into, yeah. No, by far. And I think it was just a lot of it actually had to do with like the massive hype behind it. So like you knew someone who was like excited about it or talking about it, and they were like, oh, George R.R. Martin kind of was involved in this, and he did a lot of the background stuff.
Oh, great! I won't play it then.
No, actually, like the setting is like incredible.
You know what? That is true. He is really good at world building, just not finishing.
Yeah, all the Souls games are like 50% world building, at 49% lore, and 1% plot.
Yeah,
Most of the plot is reading like item descriptions.
that's
And it's like
pretty much
it's
how
fine.
Elden Ring is, yeah.
It's fine. It's way different. Like you can get your Sony movie game, which just explains the simplistic plot to you.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
Wow,
like
it
this
moves
is
the rest of the way for you.
Yeah.
this is like the
But when you play like 100 hours of Elden Ring and you're getting all the plot from it, reading about some ring you picked up, Mr. Artorias the Bewildered made this.
I mean, like,
And he was
You have
the husband of Marceline the Beloved.
That actually, those sound like real characters.
That's literally all Souls plots. All of them.
By the way, Trev, maybe 15 minutes or so. So I have a little bit of time to play my game. That'll put us at about an hour and a half.
I just want to finish the next boss.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I wish I like the Sony Blade-based movie games, but I think I said this last time, but I really dislike them just force-feeding it to you. I do like being able to discover stuff. That's why the old-school style Resident Evil games just suit me so well. Because, yes, there's some story, but if you find the memos and stuff, it paints a picture.
Yeah, you don't. It's
of
not
more
something
of
you
on.
have to seek out terribly hard.
Like
it's
Trev.
like presented to you.
Well, actually, for both
like
of you,
not presented to you, but like it's like next to the key that you pick up. It's a memo.
So imagine the original Resident Evil 2, right?
Yeah.
Chief Irons. Imagine if you never read a single memo. You'd be like, this guy kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And when you read the memos, you're like, oh, holy crap, he is like
the worst.
Right? But a lot of, yes, you see he's crazy, he tries to kill you, whatever. But when you read the memos, you're like, oh, he specifically made everyone in this police department die because he sabotaged everything.
Yeah, Resident Evil is a good mixture of active plot and lore. That's a good example of a game that does both really well.
So I would prefer, and again, I'm not a Souls person, but I'd prefer if there was a little bit more active plot based on what you're saying. But I also get it. That's how they like it, and I understand. Yeah, I do want to play Bloodborne one of these years. I heard that out of all the games, Sekiro's usually considered probably the hardest. Maybe the original Demon Souls on PS3.
Yeah.
I heard that's ridiculous.
They were relentless with that. No, I like the. Well, okay. Well, here's the thing. Have you ever considered that when you have a bunch of lore that is super arcane, and it takes a long time to like piece things together because there's like subtle hints towards these things, but you kind of have to like be actively looking and thinking about like how they fit together. Like, have you considered that, like, you know, if you didn't have your story and your plot and your lore set up that way, that you would be taking revenue from like dozens of YouTubers who have these hour-long deep dives into Dark Souls and into
That's true. You know, I really don't think about the YouTubers enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you really should be thinking about them all the time, as we have throughout this segment.
I need to think about That's true. I want things to be so confusing that I can't even possibly understand them unless... Oh, that reminds me. I have absolutely no interest in playing any Mortal Kombat games, but I've been watching a video that explains the timeline of Mortal Kombat events because...
That's crazy.
What?
Because Mortal
It's
Kombat
ridiculous.
Is so, like...
Oh, it's so absurd. But in a way, I kind of like it.
You like it because you know that, like, you know, they had this game and it was just like, oh, it's an arcade, like, 1v1 fighter, and, oh no, now we're making more of them, and, like, now we gotta figure out how these all tie together.
Well, freaking Liu Kang wins the first 3 Mortal Kombats.
Yeah, he does.
And it's like, dude, Liu Kang doesn't, like, everyone jobs to Liu Kang. And also, I didn't realize this, but you have to win 10 straight Mortal Kombats in order to be able to essentially erase one of the realms. It's almost like in Dragon Ball Super when they get rid of the universes. 10 straight. And normally the rule is you have to go 50 years between Mortal Kombats, but for some plot-related reason that I don't remember, they were able to do 3 within Liu Kang's lifetime. I guess more like 10 in Liu Kang's lifetime because reasons.
Isn't Mortal Kombat 1's plot literally Liu Kang reshaped the universe or something?
Pretty much, yeah, because they were, the Outer Worlds won 9 in a row, and if they won the 10th one, then they could have taken out Earthrealm, and Liu Kang was like, nah, son,
Why would
and
they take
defeated
out Earth?
Or, I don't know if it was Earthrealm, but it was one of the realms, essentially. They could take him out and get... And the worst part is, kind of like in the game Darksiders, where they have these, like, Elden Gods. There's all these Elden Gods that essentially just sit around in a circle and are like, we will not help you. Like, Raiden goes to them and is like, hey, they're gonna take out Earthrealm. And they're like, we just let you guys do your thing.
Now,
That's essentially it.
That's a game I haven't heard or thought about in forever. Probably because it was mid.
I like Darksiders 1 a lot. I like Darksiders 2 a little bit. I really dislike Darksiders 3.
I hated I think the aesthetic was what I didn't like about it. What immediately turned me off, because it just reminded me of, like, the main character with this big, huge armor and these proportions that are utterly insane. It's just like Warcraft 3, like Prince Arthur's kind of build, which
but like
is
a Zelda kind of thing.
Yeah, but
Yep.
but in a Zelda game, and I'm like,
Trev,
I don't like that design. I don't like those proportions.
If you ever want to hear, like, the most insane ramblings possible, ask a big Mortal Kombat fan the history of Sub-Zero. Like, the history of Sub-Zero is more confusing than, like, any character I can think of. Like, the original Sub-Zero was killed during Mortal Kombat 1, and then he came back as, like, a ghost kind of thing, or like a demon kind of thing, and then the Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat 2 was a different one, and then the original Sub-Zero was bad, and then the second one was good. Dude, it's a whole thing. Oh, and then you know all those cyborgs like Cyrax and Sector and stuff.
Yeah,
they were
former ninjas.
Yeah, of the Black Lotus, I want to say.
I can't remember what.
Might be Black Lotus. And Sub-Zero was gonna be one, but then he got away, but then they took all the other guys and they made him into... It's like, bro, Ed Boon, calm down. And then they reboot the series. And then they reboot the series again, but they're not full reboots, they're soft reboots. And I can understand why people don't like Mortal Kombat 1, like the one that just came out recently. Because it's another soft reboot where it actually doesn't do anything.
That's one of those games that, like, came out and I just didn't know.
Yeah, apparently people didn't like it very much.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 sold crazy. But I think 1, like, it's a Mortal Kombat game. I'm sure it shipped a couple million copies, but I think it just didn't do as well as
it also had a lot of microtransaction nonsense, from what I understand. Like, I understand all fighting games have that, but apparently it was, like, ridiculously bad. Like, there were characters you're like, dude, you can't put these behind a paywall, and they were like, nope, paywall, $5, deal with it.
That's another really weird thing, going back to, like, doing, like, 10, 11, and then back to 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's their way of saying it's a reboot, but
I know,
also
but it's like,
yeah.
First of all, it's been done before.
Dude, I'm saying
At this point, it's just like
they had a reboot at some point, and I think it was Mortal Kombat 9 was a reboot because it's just called Mortal Kombat for the PS3.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought that was a good one that people liked.
Listen, I don't know.
Anyway,
It's a fighting game where people
dude, we
blow
talked
heads
so
off people.
much about Final Fantasy this time. I know you guys are tired about us talking about Final Fantasy.
The first half of this game is pretty. It's not super complicated, so we'll get to how crazy this
So
game
we'll
gets
figure out
later.
where these guys are headed to
Then next time, I promise I will only talk about Final Fantasy.
I'll only talk
JK.
about Homestar
And the Junon place is pretty cool, so I
It
think
is.
it'll be
It
neat.
is.
Nice.
We'll see ya! Bye-bye!
Bye.